Hey guys, so a lot of people hold the opinion that older alarms are louder than newer alarms, and some people hold the opposite opinion. Whether or not one's true over the other, well, that's all subjective. But there is one thing that will be interesting, and that's if whether or not Wheelock's 7000 etc. series is louder than System Sensor's Spectral Alert series. So let's get started. So the one thing you'll notice, I have a lot more of these than these, only because that's how I collect. And for the sake of the video, and for the sake of fairness, I wanted to test more of these with a decibel reader than these. Just because the newest alarm in this series is about 40 years old, and 40 years can take its toll, whereas I think the oldest device is this Spectral Alert up here, and that's from, oh boy, 1999, 1998, I think. I'll find out in a minute. So yeah, before we get started, let me just go through the devices real quick to give you an idea of what's in this competition. So we'll start off with the new alarms. These are all by System Sensor, and let's do top to bottom. So this is the first one here. This one is the most recognizable, the P2475, known as the Spectral Alert Classic. This one is a white variant. Thought I would show this off for the video. This is a P1224 MCW. And for the sake of this video, I thought I would have two of each of these. And then I threw a curveball in for this one. And this one is a Spectral Alert Advance ceiling mount strobe. A horn strobe, excuse me, PC2R. And this is the Spectral Alert Advance, the regular one, the P2R. Now down here is definitely one of the more rare ones. This is a P2R-HLF, I believe. Come on, camera, focus. This one is a low frequency sounder and happens to be a really high strobe output model. So at minimum, it's 135 candela. Its maximum is 185, which is pretty cool. And then down here is a System Sensor L series ceiling mount horn strobe, also known as the PC2RL. So I don't actually own a regular L series, so unfortunately that's kind of why I have this alarm here. Just because, and who knows, if the Wheelocks turn out to be louder, I'd like to see how a low frequency sounder compares to its regular brethren. And now for these, it's a various mix of rebrandings, but they all started out as Wheelocks. So these two are Wheelock 7002Ts. They're all 24 volt models, save for a couple of them. This one is a Honeywell rebranded one. This is an SC807A1029, some mouthful like that. Ooh. Sorry, this is hard to do one-handed. Oh wow, I got that right. This would be a 7002T technically because of the terminal. And this is a Pyrotronics rebrand. This one's an HSD24, also another 7002T. This one is a Wheelock, a 7004T. Interesting enough, it has a white coil. If I remember right, someone said that the later models had different colored coils, like red or white. I can't remember who, though. Up here, some of the more uncommon ones. This is a Wheelock 7001T. I just got this week. Definitely an alarm I've been hunting for a long time. But yeah, this is the same thing as these, just as a flush mount version. This one's an older version. This was also a Pyrotronics. This one's an HSD24F, or a 7001, 24 volt model, of course. These two are the same alarm. This is a Wheelock 7001. Not a T, because this one has pigtails. This one is a Gamewell rebrand. This one's a model 68291. They put it on the coil. It's a little hard to read. Huh. I've been nailing these numbers. I can't remember letters, but I remember numbers. Good for me. And yeah, this one was new in box, by the way, so this should be interesting. This one was an alarm I've had for a long time. This is a 34T. Don't let the grill fool you. This one is a 34T. A little rough on the inside, but this was the one that came out of my school. And these two alarms, This is a Wheelock 31-115, the 115 volt 31, without the terminal. And this is the same thing, except it's a 31T115. This one does have the terminal. So this should be interesting to see. 115 volt and 24 volt horns versus these modern horns. And for the sake of the testing, all of these will be on high volume continuous. Now, I got the idea from Fire Alarm Dude 5967, who I have to give credit for this video. I'm going to be basing this off of his. And in his testing, he had these all set on their factory default settings, which was a great idea, because that was cool to see how they would have compared, like, from the factory. In this one, though, I wanted to see them at their best. So they're each going to be at their highest volume. So I'm going to be wearing hearing protection, because if you know anything about spectral alerts, they make your ears bleed. And these, there's really not much you can do for these, but all their volume screws are basically loosened all the way. Not that it makes a huge difference on these, but it'll make some kind of discernible difference. And yeah, so I've talked your guys' ears off enough. Let's get to the part you all came here to watch. Let's get to testing. We'll be starting off with the spectral alerts. Alright, so for the first alarm, we'll be using the P2475. And when I do this, I'll try to blast them for about 5 seconds or so. And I will be taking the maximum reading from the decibel reader. So, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so we got a rating of 105.3. Very strong start. Alright, we're on to the second alarm, the white spectral alert. I'm expecting pretty similar results. So let's just see the difference across the same devices. So, here we go. Oh, that's interesting. We got a max reading of 105.7. So, a touch louder than the other one. But I blame the fact this one is a more recent model, and it was brand new, unlike the other one. Alright, next up is the Spectral Advance, the ceiling mount version. This will be interesting to see how it compares to its predecessor. And yeah, just a reminder, I'm wearing hearing protection, and you know you're going to want it for this device. So, here we go. Sorry, I bumped the camera there. Okay, yeah, that one did well. 110.7 was the max there. Yeah, that was extremely loud. Next up is the regular Spectral Advance. Unlike the ceiling mount version, this one was brand new in the box. I found that other one in a dumpster. So, yeah, free alarm is free. So, here we go. That did 110.5. I guess brand new doesn't always mean louder. Did make a funny noise there, and I don't know if the strobes are coming across the camera though. But I have each strobe set to 50 in Candela, just so there's nothing sapping power from the horn. Alright, next up is the L-Series ceiling mount version. And some people say this one's actually slightly quieter compared to the Advanced. So let's see how true that is. Brand new in box L-Series. Here we go. Well, looks like they were right. This one did a max of 106.3. Barely louder than the original ones. And last but certainly not least, the rarest of them all, the low frequency sounder Spectral Advance. So, yeah, not much else to say about it, so let's see how it does. Here we go. Okay, compared to the other Spectral Alerts, that one was actually kind of not impressive. At best, that was a 99.1. And a little note about this, you can't change the volume on it. It's either, for this one, it's either temporal or continuous. But yeah, that's all the Spectral Alerts. So here are the standings for the Spectral Alerts. Coming in at a whopping 110.7 decibels, we have the ceiling mount version, eking out its wall mount version by 0.2 decibels. And at the bottom of the list right now at 99.1, the low frequency sounder. But it's okay, it's the coolest sounding and the most unique. So, Wheelock time. All right, we're starting off with the 7002T and the one with the trim plate. And it's going to be braced by the wire cutters because this one will fall over if I don't. So, without further ado, let's see how the old beast does. Here we go. Okay, I don't remember that one sounding that funny. But we still got a pretty good reading from it. It beat the low frequency sounder at 105.6. Not bad for an old Wheelock. Let's see how its twins do. Next up is the regular Wheelock 7002T. This one is in much better shape than the other one is, so hopefully we'll get an even better result. Here we go. Wow, I was right. We got a max of 106.3, which, if I'm not mistaken, beats out the Spectral Alert Classics. So we're getting closer to the L series and the Advances. So let's see if the other ones can do it. Next up is the Honeywell rebranded 7002T, the SC807. I have to be honest, I don't really remember what this one sounds like. So hopefully it works as it should. So here we go. Yeah, that one's not as healthy as the other two. I mean, it was close though. It came out to 105.1, so these are staying on level pegging with the Spectral Alerts. And here is the last of the regular 7002Ts, the Pyrotronics HSD24. Let's see how this one sounds. Well, it sure sounded the healthiest, but the decibels say otherwise. This one was the quietest at 101.9. It's a shame. It's kind of strange because that one definitely was the healthiest of them all. But it wasn't that loud, I'm not going to lie. So now we're on to the older 7002s. This one's the Gamewell 68291. And it will be interesting to see if that vandal-resistant grill changed the output at all. So, without further ado, here we go. Looks like it actually did make a difference. That just hit 108.1. So very close to the Advances. And yeah, I can definitely tell that one's definitely the loudest Wheelock so far. Next up is the 7002-24. This is the regular Wheelock version. And this one was not new in box like the Gamewell. So let's see how it compares. Yeah, it looks like the new in-box alarms are certainly, all but one have been proving them to be better than the used versions. Sorry, I'm exhausted, guys. That one did 104.2. Pretty impressive, but kind of disproves my theory about the vandal-resistant grills. Alright, next up is the horn-only model, Wheelock 34T, the one from my school. Ignore those pigtail connectors, those were left over from the system it was installed on. This one's a little raspy, so let's see how it sounds. Here we go. Yeah, that wasn't that great. That did a 102.6. Got over 100 at least, but sitting on a fire alarm panel with FWR for 30-something years definitely took its toll on this poor alarm. Alright, now on to the rare stuff. This one is the 7001T. And this should be interesting. Let's see how it compares. This one did a max of 101.7. So not exactly loud compared to the other alarms, but still plenty loud enough to damage your hearing. And last but not least, the HSD24F, otherwise known as the 7001, which is probably the rarest of all the alarms shown here. So, let's see how the original does. Not bad. 102.3. It's interesting, the flush mount ones don't seem to be as loud as the other ones. And it seems like the Spectral Advances are sitting pretty happily on top. But luckily, there's still 3 more Wheelocks, and they made them in more than 1 voltage. Alright, it's time to crank up the voltage. Here is the 7004T, and chances are the next 3 alarms are all going to sound the same. But let's see how they compare on the decibel reader. So, here we go. Well, that sure is piercing, but it only came out to 104.6. So, kind of about midway up the field. So, pretty impressive. Alright, now we have the 31T. And not much to say about this one, and hopefully it won't dance around as badly as the 7004 did. So, here we go. Oh man, that one came close. That did a 109.1. That's impressive. But unfortunately, Wheelock is still behind. So they have one last chance. And the last alarm for the video, the Wheelock 31-115. Don't let the grill fool you. So, let's see if this one can beat the Spectral alerts. Oh man. I have to look at my numbers, but I'm not sure if it did it, but it nearly tied. It did a 110.6. So that's incredible for these old beasts. Well, guys, there you have it. Did the vintage alarms win against the moderns? Unfortunately not. But for most collectors, they've won in our hearts. So the winner at 110.7, the Spectral Advance ceiling mount. 0.1 decibel behind it, the 31-115, and then 0.1 decibel, behind the 31, the regular advanced. So yeah, these 3 were all very close, It was 110.5, 110.6, 110.7. So, very impressive. And also, number-wise, we had a tie. The regular 7002T, this particular one, tied with the L Series ceiling mount at both putting in at 106.3, which is rather interesting. And I'm pretty impressed. A lot of the Wheelocks, excuse me, beat out the classic Spectral Alerts, which is I did not expect that. I thought they would do better. But at least Wheelock could say all their old horns were louder than the low frequency sounder. But of course, one thing that's interesting to note about these types of alarms are much more likely to carry their sound as vibrations through the walls compared to their modern variants. More than likely, that's probably why they're designed to be louder than these are. But yeah, so that'll about do it for this video, guys. So I certainly hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I apologize for how long this video was. And I'm sure some of you are wondering why I didn't use a regular Wheelock 34T. This was the closest thing I had to it. That's because the two 34Ts I own that have this style grill are both dead. I've bought 2 DOA alarms, so I have not had good luck with them. But if I get some, I'll probably throw them in another video as a quick decibel test, just for the fun of it. So yeah, the Spectral Alerts are sitting on top right now, but there's more than one series of fire alarm for them to compare themselves to. So, if you guys like this, we'll make sure they can hold on to their title. But for now, that will do it for this video. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to Fire Alarm Dude 5967 for the idea for this video. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and have a good day.